Now let me show you the real magic of this floor, this wood floor. Here's my material, or my diffuse map, I should say. And you can see it looks a little funky, but it's got some of that variation in it. And the way I created this is by grabbing several different wood maps and taking them into Photoshop and overlaying them on each other and using masks to mask out certain parts so that you get these kind of swirls of dark, these lighter portions in here. These are all different wood maps with masks on them to make different parts of them show up. And you can see I put it into 3 different sections, and I'll kind of show you why in a second. And I gotta say, there was no great map available online for that particular wood floor that I'm trying to make. And so I just had to create it from scratch. Now, a few ideas about where you can get wood maps like this. Let me show you. Okay, a lot of my wood textures have come from purchasing furniture and the wood maps that come with them. So for example, you can see this thing here. And it's got this nice wood map on it. So someone's already taken the time to make this, and you can see that you'll probably recognize that chair from one of my more finished images on this interior. This one here has a good, nice wood map. So these things come with these wood maps, which is fantastic because those are sometimes more valuable than the furniture. And I believe that if you go to this website, dimensiva.com, and look through here, you can get these cool furniture, and these are all free, by the way. So all you have to do is click download, and boom, there you go. You download a piece of furniture. So this is a fantastic resource. I don't know why or how they offer these all for free, but it's great that they do. And of course, I've showed you CG textures before, where there's a lot of nice maps, and you can use these. They've changed their setup a little bit so that it's not as easy to get really nice textures, but you still can get things in here. Usually fine wood is what I go to. And you can see and I gotta be honest, a lot of the textures in here aren't really that high quality for the wood in particular. I use this for everything, but the wood is not the best collection that they've got. But you can see that here you could use these kind of things just for grain patterns and kind of multiply it over your wood or whatever. And I've showed you a lot of these things in Photoshop before. Look, there's a pretty nice grain pattern right there and right here. So you could turn these into black and white and just multiply them over your wood to give it nice grain patterns. You can do a lot of different overlays and a lot of different things to make an interesting looking texture. So that's some ideas. And then when you have a texture that's similar to mine, like this, or however you want to make it, then let me show you how to apply this in Max. So we have our multi-sub-object material. Let's go into it real quick. Let's see, is that even it? Let's go back. Okay, so now, if we take the map, go to Standard, Bitmap, select our wood floor. Let's make sure and turn the blur down to 0 by right-clicking on this. It sets it to 0. If you view the image, okay, great. So let's, in our head, think about how big that is. We need it. Oh, and one thing I didn't do in the previous lecture was map each of my planks the way I want them. So I might have to go back and remake that, but that's okay. Let me just show you how to make this material. So we'll say, I think our planks were 6 feet long, 5 feet long. Let's make this a 6 by 6 square. 6 feet by 6 feet. There it is. Okay, but what we're going to do is take on each one of these and just use the size of one slat. And so that makes it a width of, actually, I think we made 4 inches, right? So now that's one slat right there, which is perfect. And now we can take it and copy it. And you'll see kind of what I'm doing. Copy. Now you want to make sure and get everything set up right in this first one. Let's make sure that shows. And you can see I didn't have real-time texturing on, so that's a problem. I need to have mapped these planks before I started copying them around. See if I can get it going in the right direction at least. Yes. But see, now the mapping is going right across these different planks, and that's not exactly what I want. So let me go back and remake that, and then we'll continue with this texture. Okay, I don't want you to watch me make this whole floor, but that is in fact what I need to do. So what we need to do is just get the mapping right for this particular plank first, and then start copying it around, because then that mapping will apply on every plank. And you'll see how that all works in just a second. Let's make sure, I need to figure out my exact size here. So we have that at 4 foot by 6 foot. For some reason that mapping doesn't look quite right. We've got to move it into place. Right there. And right there. And then just convert that to poly, and then make the floor like I showed you before. Okay, we got my floor built again with the proper UV mapping on each one, which is fantastic. Let's turn on edges so we can see. Okay, great. It's going right to that edge. That's perfect. Okay, now that that is set up, let's copy this again by just holding down the left button and dragging. Copy. And then in here, all we have to do is take this and move the exact same size to there. And you might want to rotate that 90 degrees, or sorry, 180 degrees, so that the grain's going in the opposite direction. That's fine too. Now you can see our multi-sub object is gone because I remade the floor. Sorry, our material by element. Material by element. Now we can just do random distribution by, let's say 6. We'll start with 6. Okay, so far we have 2 different plank textures. We might actually end up with more than 6 here. Okay, let's copy this one now. Go into that diffuse map. And let's get this nice red texture here. Like that. Okay, so you can see how we're adding variance, and this floor is already looking cool. See how much fun this is? We know the right techniques. Okay, let's get this one with the darker stuff in there. Okay, and just automatically getting added in to add that nice variation to our floor. Now we can take this same one and just rotate it. That gives us another one. Another variation. Let's take this one. Rotate it. Whoops. Put that back to 0 and go to here and grab some of the, let's get one of these real interesting looking ones. So it doesn't actually matter, as you can see, that I have kind of a break and non-tiling going on in my material map, because I'm just going right up to these edges and creating planks. It's an interesting one there. And you can go all along and just keep creating this exact same size plank from a different part of that texture. Let's go all the way up to 10 here and just keep going. The nice thing is you can add slightly different reflections to each of these to really give some variation, different glossiness to each one. And in the end, it'll read like a really nice floor, because that subtle variation in each different one, each different little sub-material here, will give you something that's very lifelike and very realistic, because that's how it is in real life. There's subtle variation from plank to plank. Okay, we're almost to the end here. Let's go with 10, and you could actually keep going, and probably the more you have, the more realistic it's going to look. Let's rotate this one 180 as well. Whoops. Go into here and get the final piece right there. Actually, did we ever get this one? A full dark one? No. Okay. So that's actually a little bit too much variation, I'd say. But you can see the effect that we're looking for. And the mapping was perfect on each one because that first one had the right mapping on it. Okay, let's now in your settings here, if you want, you can go up to just 8. So some of these ones that are very bold in pattern, what I did, like this one, for example, you're going to know, your eye's going to notice that over and over. Like there it is, there it is, there it is. So you actually want that to happen a lot less frequent. So you can actually set the frequencies of each different one, but I can do this too, change the seed, but that only goes up to 8. So I like using more, but perhaps you want to do it like this and then manually set the probability of each one happening. So like you could put these to 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. And turn these ones down obviously to 20. And I don't even know if this opens. If this equals 100, I'm not going to do the math right now. But there you go. So you can see how that works. Now you want to mess with that to make it look very random. And then you will, I don't have my camera set up yet. But if I did, this would look pretty cool. We're coming along here. Don't want to be in the floor. Okay, so you can see that some of these are too bold in pattern, so I might need to go back and change those or change the probability of them showing up. But other than that, we've got a really nice wood plank floor going on. So that's how I made the floor, and then it's a ton of tweaking with the reflection after that. And we'll get deep into the materials later, but this is the basics of how I created the floor.